Welcome, everyone, to episode 136 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Doug, no Owen this week. And today we are talking about Roofman. First, I
Rough
have to
man.
issue the quality apology for no video episode last week. Audio only, no YouTube episode. So if you're a YouTube listener,
That was
apologies. That
that
was
was for
a
the real heads.
yes, that
Posting
was
is for
a
the real
that
heads.
was a specific situation, and I know we've had a lot of them, but New York Film Festival is behind us now, so hopefully a lot of the podcast-based issues will be limited in the future. We're not going to talk about New York Film Festival either this episode because I want to wait for Owen to get back on the pod for us both to be here. But we can jump into the weekly watches, and I'll kind of just talk about uh, movies that I watched aside from the New York Film Festival. I also feel like this would be the place. I don't know. It seems like the standard of our podcast, at least, has been that like when a tragic passing happens, we kind of acknowledge it at the beginning of the podcast instead of lumping it in with the news.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we should mention
Diane
that
Keaton
Diane Keaton
passed.
passed away. Normally, when it happened recently with Robert Redford, I had like watched a movie and it started that conversation, but this just happened like literally yesterday, and we're recording the podcast the next day. So I have not. That won't be in my weekly watches, but I wanted to mention it because it's like too big of an icon to not bring up on the podcast. Too important of a person to not acknowledge.
Very sad. I
Yeah,
was telling, I got the Google News notification. That's how anyways, I got the Google News notification on my phone while I was in the car with my girlfriend, and like my phone buzzed, and I looked down, and it said Diane Keaton passed, and I was
yeah,
like, and I just said that out loud, and she was like, "Huh?" Like she was like freaking out a little bit, and I was
yeah,
like, I was saying like it's really sad. Obviously, really specifically sad because Diane Keaton is just one of the greatest filmmakers, just one of the greatest filmmakers in American Hollywood, right? In terms of like being an incredible actor and also like um doing impressive directing and whatnot, whatever, that sounds dismissive. But I was saying like everybody's so old, like all of the greatest living film artists are old, like they're at the age in which you die now, all of them,
yeah. No,
like
I was thinking about that too, and it's like a conversation that it feels like we have to have every time they start passing away now, because it's like obviously we have grown up in a time where like the very old Hollywood stars predated us, but all of the Hollywood stars of like, anywhere between the 50s to the 80s
Yeah,
are
all
like
like the
at
American
that
New Wave, like,
yeah, are like
yeah.
at that age now where it's just normal for them to all start passing away, and that's like a hard thing to accept, knowing how they compare to our current moment, which is not exactly like marked by a lack of talent, but just that
It's different though.
filmmaking has changed so much.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
it's very difficult to not associate like so much of what we love about movies with the stars of the past as opposed to the stars of the moment.
Mhm.
Um yeah, so it's really difficult to like deal with that and get news like that. I mean, on the subject of this podcast, I got the news as I left Roofman. So we'll talk about the movie, but I went to watch Roofman in a good mood. The
Mhm.
movie put me in a little bit of a bad mood, and then I got out of the movie, and then I got in an even worse mood because the second I pulled out my phone after the movie, I saw that, and I was like, "Well, this is fucking terrible." So yeah, it's really sad. But we don't. Yeah, we could talk a little bit about some I don't know, brighter stuff. We'll see what you watched this past week, I guess. Um, I got a couple weeks to talk about, but again, most of that is film festival stuff. So the other stuff that I should mention, this is now so long ago, but I saw One Battle After Another, of course, a podcast that I was not able to be on. My favorite movie of the year. So kind of crazy to just throw it in here with the rest, um, but it's good, you know.
Oh, you liked it? You thought that one was
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, I was a fan. I was very impressed.
Can you,
Doug held down the podcast that week, but
I did, yes. Can
uh
you explain the circumstances in which you saw it, though? What format you saw it in,
yeah,
and,
I saw it in 70 IMAX at AMC Lincoln Square, big screen. I was sitting pretty close to the screen, row C, but that did not
That is very
taint.
close for that
Yeah,
screen,
it was
right? Yeah.
close, but it did not taint the experience at all. I was like really blown away by
Yeah.
it. It's so crazy that the festival has just like stopped me from watching the movie multiple times because knowing that I have only seen that movie one time is such a like crazy idea. And now that I could finally make some time to rewatch it, it's already out of premium formats. So that is just like such a
Tron Ares
fucking
had to
yeah,
fit
it's
it
like
in.
had to be Tron Ares, a movie that we're not even talking about this week because of how fucking
Yeah.
bad it probably
A
is.
movie I could not care less about.
Yeah,
I listened to the Nine Inch Nails score and I was like, "This is a good score," and it's still like, I'm not interested at all in
yeah.
seeing that
No,
movie.
I know. And so, yeah, that's unfortunate is that, like, I would love to have just seen the movie a second or third time at least. But now I finally have maybe a moment to go check it out in a regular format or something. Um, anyway, great movie. I don't think anybody listening to this podcast needs to hear that. I watched in tandem with the festival, I watched Night Moves, a Kelly Reichardt movie. I watched that the same day that I was going to go see uh, her new movie, The Mastermind, which, spoiler alert, I really liked. Um,
Mm.
Night Moves, also terrific, great rewatch. Really enjoyed that. I watched Punch Drunk Love after One Battle After Another. I was like, my girlfriend's roommate actually like was really into a Paul Thomas Anderson couple of weeks because of One Battle After Another, and so he wanted to put on Punch Drunk Love, and I was like, oh, I haven't, seen this movie in quite a long time now, and as is the case with like a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson movies, I like don't know exactly how much I love them because he's never been like one of my guys. And I'm like, I haven't really
I said the
rewatched a lot
same
of those.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really like rewatched a lot of those movies recently. Like he's always somebody who I've admired as a great artist, but rewatching Punch Drunk Love, I was like, oh no, this movie is amazing. Because previously I thought that was kind of just like my least favorite movie of his. Um, and then rewatching it, it was like watching it for the first time. I was like, I can't believe how good this movie is. So that was a really cool experience. Um, I rewatched Inglorious Bastards, another movie that I adore. I rewatched Donnie Darko, a movie that I adore. We were kind of just like between festival screenings. My girlfriend and I were just like throwing on movies, and I was like, it was a good opportunity to just watch a bunch of movies that I like really like, and because she had not seen Inglorious Bastards or Donnie Darko, so it was cool to show her both of those movies. I saw the re-release of Avatar: The Way of Water, which is on this podcast we don't really have to talk much about how good those movies are, but we definitely will in about 2 months time talk about how good those movies are.
Ad
um,
nauseum almost,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And then yeah, mostly more festival screenings up until last night when I put on Grown Ups on cable, and I didn't even
How was
rate it
that?
because I was just like, wow, what a it's so strange to watch. Like specifically, I rewatch often movies that I kind of loved between like being a kid slash teenager, movies that were just like super pivotal to my upbringing. And
Mhm.
Grown Ups was one of those movies that was like such a moment for me and my friends where like we just watched that movie endlessly. And at the time that it came out, I was just like, this is the funniest movie I've ever seen. And watching it now, I was just like, geez, dude, it's not, it's definitely not like the lowest of the low as far as that type of movie goes. Um, but I was shocked at how like unfunny most of it is by today's standards, knowing how much I liked it as a kid.
I
But I
know.
literally was just watching it on fucking cable with like commercials in between, and it's like
Yeah,
it's not
you're
that
watching it on, like,
serious.
TNT or something.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So it's like,
I know
oh,
Grown Ups 2 is the one that, some people say is kinda interesting because it's so absurd. Like, it's so, like, jumps the
yeah.
shark narratively a little bit. Um,
Yeah, the second one I didn't get a chance to rewatch. It's actually funny because the second one was just finishing airing while they put the first one on TV. So like when I saw it was on TV, I was like, "Oh, I'll put on Grown Ups" as Grown Ups 2 was ending. So I think they were just repeatedly showing the Grown Ups movies on whatever channel I was browsing last night. Anyway, what did you get up to this week?
uh, I I saw Phantom of the Paradise in theaters at it was a rep
Oh
screening of
shoot.
Phantom of the Paradise, which was kinda cool. It was, like, a very I love that movie, obviously, like, all of us really like that movie a lot. and but I haven't seen it in a couple of years, and it doesn't get talked about a lot like something like the Rocky Horror Picture Show or whatever. So I kind of like it's like cults fascination is was a little lost on me, but it was like kind of a good crowd at the rep screening I went to. Lots of how do I say this? Um lots of
Are you trying to say something politely that's actually mean?
no, no, no. I'm just trying to use appropriate language. Lots of queer people, lots of
Okay,
alternative queer people were there in the crowd,
sure.
which was very cool. I watched Baby Girl finally. That movie's really good. I really like that movie.
Wow, you
um,
finally watched it.
yeah, I like that. I like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
That movie's good. Okay, I saw Day of the Dead. Right, Day of the Dead. George A. Romero's third film in
Is
his
is it a George or it's just George? You kind of said it, like, with an accent.
George
Okay,
Romero. George A. Romero.
yeah, I'm like, he is just, like, American now.
Yeah, it's George.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, George. George Romero. His Day of the Dead movie, which I really liked. I do really like. It's obviously not as good as the previous two films, but I do really, really, really. It's a great film. Um, it's funny. The movies has like some of the best special effects, like practical special effects ever. Watching the movie, I was like, this is a on purely a makeup and special effects level. This is like a John Carpenter's The Thing level accomplishment. Um, so like the movie's totally worth just on those merits alone seeking
Yeah.
out. But it's like super fucked up and sad and depressing. The movie's literally
Oh
about
god.
like, ah man, everything we should just all fucking kill ourselves, shouldn't we? Because it's like a reaction to fucking Ronald Reagan getting elected, and it's like we should all just fucking kill ourselves. It's like the
Right,
world
that kinda
sucks.
rocks. I've been
Yeah.
talking about Ronald Reagan a lot recently because and I don't, not to dive into elements of my personal life, but in my schooling, um, in grad school where I'm learning about teaching,
Mhm.
so many of our readings are just like, "Here's how Ronald Reagan fucked up the American education system forever, and you guys are left to deal with it as teachers." And I'm like, "Well, that makes me feel fucking great." And that is like almost every other reading is just like some researcher being like, by the way, this started when Ronald Reagan got in office. And I'm like, yeah, fucking figures.
Yeah.
As is
Terrible.
the case with like every awful thing that's happening to us.
Yeah. And then I watched I also watched Land of the Dead, which is the one that he made after that, Romero, the zombie movie Romero made after Day of the Dead. But Land of the Dead came out in 2005. It was like a reaction to 28 Days Later, kind of to that movie's success. That movie being like kind of a big success, and Romero was like, "Oh yeah, I'll make another zombie movie. I have some ideas still." And it's so funny because this movie came out in 2005. It's like so similar to The Last of Us, and it's like world and its premise of like it's so proto everything that zombies. Romero just like took like what zombies would kind of like become in pop culture and did it like 20 years early, just over and over and over again with every movie he released. Kind of,
Yeah.
it's so interesting how he just like got that shit figured out. Um, which is also interesting because see, like in his movies, zombies aren't. It's not an infection. Do you know this? Um,
No.
in George Romero movies, his zombies um are from radiation, space radiation.
Oh.
So it's like when somebody dies, it's like they're recently deceased, their brain like it's jump started from space radiation,
So
basically.
you don't even have to get infected. You just have to die.
You just yeah, it's literally everybody that dies,
I see.
they become a zombie.
That's a fascinating concept that does not get played with in any other zombie movie.
It was like he came
Yeah.
up with that, and everybody was like, I like most. I everybody was like, oh, I love like most of this zombie stuff except for it should be a virus. That's like
Yeah.
the big thing that
And like
everybody
every
changes.
zombie movie is a virus now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but no, it's not a it's not like a virus and there's no cure or whatever. It's actually that's the other thing about his movies that's interesting is that it's not a virus or a sickness and there is not a cure, right? Because
Right.
it doesn't it's not even interested in a cure. It's more like, oh, the zombies are still people actually. It's really more like
Right.
in all of his movies, it's like the zombies represent a lower class, right?
Oh,
That are like kind of it's yeah, it's interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
That is, so the resolutions are way more like like, because the average zombie movie now, the resolution is like, oh, they figure out a way to deal with the outbreak, but I'm guessing that's not the case of the resolutions for his movies are more like on the human conflict level.
Yeah, it's the resolutions for all of his movies are basically like there's no escaping this. It's like
Right,
hell has come back to earth, and it's like you guys all hate the zombies, but the zombies are just like, or this literally like this idea of the zombies are the same as you is he's been saying this for he's been saying that since the 60s, basically, just over and over again, like humans and the zombies are the same, basically, and the
right.
zombies are just like a tool to reflect the worst in humanity, right? Which
That's
goes
so
into
fascinating.
I
It's, like, kinda
watched
crazy that someone was that, like, had that good of a perspective on a genre that would become so popular, and nobody else in the genre has done it that well.
exactly. No, that's what I'm saying, where it's like, I never watched these George Romero movies, but he's like such an incredible, like, writer and filmmaker.
Yeah, I should
Um,
definitely get on those. That, like, made me wanna jump to, like, watch them right now.
yeah, well, because Night of the Living Dead,
Right,
I
okay,
I watched the remake, the 1990 remake I saw in theaters yesterday,
okay,
and Night of the Living Dead, the 1968 movie, that's about the civil rights that's a civil rights picture. It's about the civil
right,
it's a reaction to the civil rights movement because the main character is a black man,
right.
and then the ending of that movie kinda ties it it's that's
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I'll
well
see when I get to it. I will
Um,
watch
yeah,
those.
I watched the Night of the Living Dead remake, which was is a interesting artifact. It is not a great movie, for a number of
Okay,
reasons. It's an interesting artifact. Uh, it's like it's kind of the way that I described it to somebody. It was like it's like a flanderized version of the original, where like it takes the ideas and then kind of like makes them all like more obvious. Um,
right, okay.
where it's like this idea of like, oh, the zombies are similar to us, or they bring out the worst in humanity. It's like kind of, it's like not like it's like played a little subtly in the original, and in this one, the new one of the like the a character that's changed a lot in the remake, right? She sees zombies being lynched, like literally zombies being lynched, and then she goes, they're us. Like after seeing the zombies being lynched, and I was like, okay, you could, it's like hitting the nail
Yeah,
on the head a little bit.
okay,
But
that's tough.
yeah, no, it's good. I also watched The Brood, which is a good movie,
Mhm, that looks
and that's
good,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
very good.
Okay, and then you also watched the movie that we're gonna talk about right now, Roofman, which is a Derek Cianfrance movie starring Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst. This is a movie that I liked, I'd say a significant amount more than you, but I'm interested in starting there because there was this kind of, like, nagging thing that bothered me about the movie, like, my one only real complaint about the movie that I think might be sort of the same thing that you dislike, though I guess we could pick that apart live on the pod.
Yeah,
Um, but
Riffman, based on a true story, directed by
yes, Derek
Dar
Cianfrance, yeah. I
yeah,
just
Derek
said
St.
all this
Francis.
stuff, don't worry. While you were not listening
I
to me.
got an important text message. Okay,
That's okay.
gosh.
I'm just letting you know you don't have to repeat it. Anyway, the point is, I think even though I liked the movie a lot, I think the thing that I dislike about it may be similar to the thing that you dislike about it. So tell me why you don't. All right, I shouldn't say you don't like this movie. It's just you gave it a
It's like
pretty mid
yeah,
rating.
yeah. I gave it 2.5, like 5 out of 10. I feel pretty good about that. Here's
Okay.
the first thing I said when the movie finished, right? And I was walking out with my girlfriend. I told her, I was like, why is this a movie? Why is this a
Okay.
movie?
Interesting.
I was like, what the also, why is this a movie that's over 2 hours long?
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
15 minutes into
it's
the movie, we get the setup. He's in the fucking Toys R Us. He sees the Kirsten Dunst character, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna fall in love with the Kirsten Dunst character and then get arrested at the end. And I'm not like, oh, the movie's
yeah.
predictable, but
Spoiler, by
it's
the
like,
way, even though
no,
it's
that
a true
yeah,
story, but
yeah, but
it's
and
a
it's
true
like
story that very few people knew about. So
yeah, and I'm not even just like, "Oh, the movie's predictable and I dislike it for that." No, it's like that's fine, but it's like the whole movie is just building up to that, and it's that building up to that for 2 hours, and then it happens, and it's like, "Okay." Yeah.
interesting because I
Um,
thought that okay. So let me. I'll say what I think I liked about it, and part of what I liked about it is kind of like this isn't even necessarily like a positive thing, but I think it's very indicative of the type of movie it is. Like you being like, why is this a movie? To me, like 15 years ago, this is just like every movie that came out. Like
Right.
15 to 20 years ago, this is just like what movies were, you know? And that is the era that I grew up watching on cable, you know, as like a young kid slash teenager. I was watching a lot of movies that like had just been in theaters on television, and this feels to me like a movie that 15 years ago would have been on TV 5 times a week, and I would have watched it every single time. And so many movies like that are these like stories that like don't have appropriate forward momentum, like don't really center around a character that like deserves a movie, but like you just kind of like love it anyway, you know? Like this, you know what I mean? Like this is a movie that people would watch with their entire family 15 years ago and be like, that was fucking awesome.
Yes, I
Like,
do know what you mean. Yeah.
and I found great comfort in that. So that was part of like my enjoyment of the movie, even was me watching this movie and just being like, yeah, I would have eaten the shit up if I was 14 years old, and I ate it up now. So
Another
from
thing.
no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I,
Oh no, you didn't go. No, go.
I another problem that I have with this movie too, because you're right, it is like a sweet, charming movie that is very easy. You could see people like families watching this on
Yes.
Thanksgiving when it comes out on VOD and being like, we gotta just get around the TV and watch the new whatever.
Mhm.
Um, this fucking
Yes,
guy,
let's get to it.
Jeffrey Manchester, played by Channing Tatum, I do not find him charming or likable or virtuous in any capacity. And
Okay,
we're
interesting.
here hanging out with him for 2 hours, and I'm like, this guy is a selfish dumbass that I dislike, actually.
Yes, okay, so
And there's
this
not a single moment where he wins me over in the entire movie. I'm like, this guy's fucking weird.
this is the thing, and this is where I this is the thing that I was hinting at, that I thought we would both have similar feelings about, although from my perspective, this did not affect me liking the movie, and I don't know if you'll necessarily agree with this perspective, but I think what made the movie as effective as it is was not that I loved this guy and like wanted everything to work out for him, as much as it was I felt so bad that he was not aware of how what he is doing is affecting the people around him. And I liked those people so much
Right.
that knowing that it was going to end as inevitably as it does, where it's like you know, it's going to end with him getting caught. And even if he
Yeah.
doesn't get caught, it's going to end with him running away. Like, no matter what, he has to abandon these people that he's built this relationship with. Once he meets the Kirsten Dunst character and her daughters and like wins them over, this to me just becomes like a great movie because I like felt so terrible for these people. And I was like, this guy who is like, again, a very morally gray character. Like, he is so clearly like not seeing the damage that he's doing in real time to these people's lives. Like, it made me feel so bad. I was like, I really like, especially by the end of the movie, when I see this like situation of like, oh, this Kirsten Dunst character, like over this 6 month time frame, like this was like such a meaningful relationship to her. Like this like really fucking broke her. And like you see it in the performance, and I get to the end of the movie and I'm like, that's fucking sad. Like that's so sad that this guy charmed his way into this situation without, you know, thinking about how it involves other people. And I yeah, I thought that was like a really like, I think that justifies a movie. Like watching this guy be like, "Oh, you know, like am I a good guy or am I not?" And he like he isn't even really aware of it. Like he's like he like thinks he's like, "Oh, you know, like I do these things, like I rob these people and I'm like I'm nice enough to give them a jacket and I'm nice enough to not hurt them and blah blah blah." And it's like, "No, you're like doing damage to these people." And it all like by the end of the movie it really comes together when this guy who he's been fucking spying on the whole time is like, "Hey dude, you're a fucking bully." And it like the fucking everything clicks in his brain and he's like, yeah, like I am. And I think that's like, I think that like is a really compelling story to tell. I think he's, yeah, he's not, from the perspective of like I'm supposed to root for this guy. I don't know that any of that stuff works, but I just don't think that it has to really.
Yeah, I guess, like, because we spend so much time with him, right? Um, and he is I agree with you. I will say this. I don't disagree with you. About most of it. I will say like I don't really like the supporting cast very much either.
Oh,
In this
interesting.
in the sense that like they're all kind of like normal people. Like listen, I
Yeah,
don't.
I mean, duh.
Well, no. But it's like this like oh, it's like okay, moody teenager that's like an asshole. It's like okay, yeah, you're being a dick, you know,
Sure.
or like it's like Kirsten Dunst's character. It's like, oh, like Midwestern lady that like goes to church a lot. It's like I wouldn't want to spend a lot of time with around that person. um,
Yeah, but, like, I don't know, like, that stuff doesn't really matter if it just, like, happened to real people, no? You know what
yeah,
I mean? It's
no,
like, that is just, like, a thing that just, like, happened to this woman.
yeah, no, and it is unfortunate.
Um,
It seems like I mean
yeah,
this guy seems like not a very good guy. I
yeah, and I don't know,
yeah,
it's weird because it's like, this is have you seen the other big Derek Cianfrance movies, Blue Valentine or Place Beyond the Pines?
no,
Okay, because it's like I made this point earlier, but it's like the marketing of the movie, for example, is like this like kind of fun, like silly like movie where it's like, oh, this guy's just like a funny guy, and then like and he's like hanging out in a Toys R Us all movie, and then it actually ends up like being like really fucking sad. And jokes on me because like I like if you watch this guy's other movies, like you're just supposed to know that, and you watch something like Blue Valentine, and it's like that is what you take like the same thing you take away from Blue Valentine is like the same thing you take away from this movie, which is that like the Ryan Gosling character in that movie, like he fucking sucks. Like by the end of it, you're like, this guy sucks. Like it's like he wins you over at the beginning, and then slowly he becomes worse and worse. Like
you know what character the Roofman Channing Tatum reminded me of
uh,
the most. This is the only comparison I was making in my head after the movie, and this is why I was like, I don't really like this movie because it's like he reminds me of Neil McCauley, um,
yeah, okay.
who's
That there's
Robert De Niro in Heat.
Yeah, there's a very clear there is like a full-on heat moment in this movie,
It's fucking
and
stupid.
no,
This
but because
movie-
here's the thing is like I I don't know. I think it's like interesting, and maybe I'm just like projecting because this is a real person, because of course
right.
this is a dramatization of this person's life. Like obviously they're using real details from this guy's life, but like there's only so much psychoanalysis we can do knowing that this is just like a real person. Like I can't project like how this guy actually is in real life onto the character that he is in the movie. But I did think that stuff was like I did think it's interesting that he forms these kind of like like this emotional investment in people's lives, and that's like what ends up hurting him. But then he also is like really good at dropping those investments, where it's like you when the movie at the beginning of the movie, there's like very clear setup to me that like despite the fact that it doesn't really present his situation as like as dire as it is, and that's like a whole different conversation to have, where I'm like, I don't know that this movie like has great takes about like living as a person in poverty, but it's of course a real story, so there's only so much you could say there. But like what you do believe at the beginning is that he this is like a guy who loves his daughter, and and no,
Yes, yes, right, yeah.
but then it like abandons her for like a whole different family and like doesn't care about her for the rest of the movie. So it's like he is like just going off feelings. Like he is just like he meets a new person and he's like, "Oh, this feels amazing for me." And
Yeah,
and like
that goes
and
into I
moves
just
on
like
from his
hate this
actual
guy so
daughter.
much because yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, at the end of the fucking movie, he's holding up the two pictures of the two families, and it's like you're an asshole, bro. Like you're an
Yeah.
asshole because it's like and that part makes the whole bro. He does an armed robbery, right? And spends
Mhm.
50,000 and to get $50,000 to buy this like all of this like passport and get this whole situation to where he's like gonna get out of the country or go like get out of state like across the country, right? And he goes through all that trouble just to like not do that because he doesn't want to start over. And it's like, bro, you did start over, and it happened, and it was super successful already.
Yeah.
It was like it seems like you have like actually no trouble starting over. It's like
Yeah. You
what's
have
the
like a
problem?
community and like yeah,
You
exactly.
started over so easily. Just do it again. Like literally,
Yeah.
like
But it also, like, yeah, I don't know, it's interesting because it makes you, like, question his attachment to his previous life where it's like, maybe he was just so dissatisfied in that life and, like, this that because he kind of says it in the movie. There's a lot of, like, narration, which I'm not, like, crazy about, but he even says in the movie that, like, the person that he is with Kirsten Dunst's character is, like, who he wishes he actually was, and
Right.
so, like, I can see it from that aspect of starting over, where it's like this, like starting over is like, oh, this is actually the life that I want to live. So now it's scary to abandon it because maybe he like didn't realize in his previous life that like, like I don't know, who knows like actually what like the breaking point was for him to like be driven to a life of crime, but it's like very possible that he was just not satisfied with like his life, and he has this like weird attachment to material things throughout the movie where he's like really like the only way he could like communicate his feelings to people is by just like buying them shit instead of like doing anything else, and I don't know, there's just like I
That's like a big theme that they kept stating in the
that's the part that
movie,
I kind of don't love
and I was like, "That's
where
weird." I don't it's, like, not that
yeah,
simple. Like, I don't
I
know.
I think that is like what the movie gets wrong the most, and that's what I was kind of hinting at with like the idea of poverty is that like by the end of the movie, the big like warm message is like, hey, it's not about the things you have, it's about like the people you love. And it's like, yeah, dude, it like it is about the things you have if you like, if you can't afford to go to the dentist or you can't,
Right.
you can't afford to like to eat or
Yeah,
whatever. It's like
and it's about, like
it is about those things. So
and
it's
it's about,
like,
like, gifts not being like, material gifts not being that important in interpersonal relationships, but it's like,
yeah.
sure,
It just
I
it
guess,
just
but
doesn't have a great angle on, like, poverty, I think, because it's not really, like, interested in exploring that side of it, which is, like, this is a man who's doing crime because he's poor.
yeah.
But it's way more about, like, you kind of almost don't feel like he's poor for most of the movie. Like, you know what I mean? You feel like this is, like, a guy who comes from a place of, like, privilege almost, which
Yeah,
is not true, of course, because it's a real life person, but the movie really kinda makes you feel that way a little bit.
he should have figured something out, over the Toys R Us. That was a terrible, place to find yourself in.
Yeah, I don't know. And also to like your point about the ending, it's like, but this is another thing that I just think is fascinating and like that makes me like the movie more is that like he he is, and the movie repeats this often, he is like a smart dumb person. And and
Yes.
I think I think that's like a lot of the ways in which he's smart, I'm like, is he actually?
Yeah.
But clearly, and of course, it was a different time. Like this takes place during the '90s or something. But like,
2004.
even
Good.
oh, is it 2004? I thought
It's
it was the '90s.
2004. No, it's
Okay,
2004, and it's a I clocked that because I was like, "Oh, there's a really accurate period." Like, there are a lot of attention to details
sure,
here. Um,
yeah. But even still, it's like, yeah, clearly very different time than it is right now. But like, no matter what, you have to have like some level of brains to pull off 45 robberies without getting caught. That's not just like doing a robbery and running away. That's like repeatedly doing it in the same area and never getting caught requires some attention to detail, some skill. Clearly he like is able to think in patterns or like visualize things, like something that like get like some kind of gift. But like he is not a smart guy as far as like emotions are involved or anything like that.
yeah, like, he
And
cannot navigate these interpersonal relationships at all.
yeah,
Not only that, but it's like he just, like, can't apply himself. That's the other thing where it's like crime you have to get like moralistic about crime because that's not what matters. But it's like he could have gotten a job, bro. He was in the military, right? He was in the military. He's a veteran. He's a combat veteran, right? And he's like good with numbers or whatever, like good with pattern recognition, like you're saying. And that how the movie like really needs to like. There's a whole scene with him and Lakeith Stanfield where he's like Lakeith Stanfield is like, how many like how many houses are on the street? How many have chimneys? How many whatever
yeah,
how many gallons per minute does this hose do? And Lakeith
yeah.
Stanfield's like,
Which is
if
a
I had
crazy
your
thing to know the answer to, by the way.
yeah, I've never even heard of gallons per minute as a measurement. Right, and Lakeith Stanfield's character is like, man, if I had your brain, I would be ruling like running the world or whatever. And it's like, no, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Because it's like it's not he's not a super genius, right? He just like
Yeah,
is like okay, like pretty good at some of this stuff, but then he's like actually like actively like so stupid. The decision to lock yourself and try to live in a fucking Toys R Us for 6 months is so stupid. Getting 14 cavities in your mouth is so stupid. It's like stupid in the way where it's like I'm watching this guy and it's like this guy is like not charming to me. I'm annoyed by this like evil, like by this guy that's hurting everybody around him and is also really stupid and like in an annoying way. Like
Yeah.
he just sat around and ate candy for weeks. Like, what are we talking
Yeah.
about? Like,
And
what the fuck?
I think the, like, where it kind of peaks to me is that, like, but I think this is in an interesting way, is, like, that heat moment that you're talking about.
Yeah.
He like, could have, if he was emotionally mature, or if he knew how to, like, handle himself, he could have been like, "Hey, Kirsten Dunst, like, here's the situation we're in. I'm a criminal on the run. You are a person that trusts me and loves me. Like, if you want to come with me, you can. If not, I'm leaving." Because he knew, if he was emotionally mature, like, he knew this whole time that at some point this was going to catch up to him. Where it's like, at some
Well, the
point,
Keith
he
Stanfield
is
told him that's the
is
one thing he
telling
kept
him,
saying
yeah,
over and over again. It was like,
exactly.
yeah,
And so what I think is interesting is that, like, clearly he didn't have, like, the foresight to know until he was in the moment. Like, when Lakeith Stanfield was like, "You're leaving the country and you're not ever coming back." Like,
yeah.
that was the moment that he realized that, instead of being a person who's like, "Oh no, like, I'm running away." Like, it's like that, like, this is my life now. He was like, "Oh, that's not going to be my life," until it was literally, like, presented to him that way. And so he, like, never that's how he ends up hurting people, is like, he, like, dragged Kirsten Dunst along thinking like, "Oh, there was some solution to this problem." And another person wiser than him in this situation would have known how the situation was going to end, which is that, like, you have to leave this person unless you tell her what's happening.
Yeah, it's like
And
you
and
have
he
a
didn't.
cat. It's like you have a cat, right?
Yeah.
And like doing the kitty litter, right? Or cleaning the cat poop out of the litter is like a big deal to you. You're like, it's like, I really don't want to do this. And here's the thing,
Yeah.
if you have it in another room and your cat's trained, you could just pretend like it's not there. You
Yeah.
could be like,
You
oh,
won't
like
even notice the smell.
like no, like
Yeah.
intellectually you could be like, oh, like this is like I have a cat and this is like a responsibility I have to do having the cat, right? But it's like you could just pretend like it's not
Yeah.
for a while, and then eventually your cat's gonna pee somewhere like on the
That's
ground,
not the litter box.
and it's
Yeah.
gonna be a fucking actual problem, right? Um,
Yeah. No,
and
that's true. That's a
yeah,
good, I for a second, I wasn't sure if I was gonna follow your analogy, but I that's a good way to phrase it. Um, Aside from all of that stuff, because again, like I said, and this is, like, the point that we'll have to disagree on, is that, like, to me, it enhances the movie, and for you, it
mhm.
just makes it really annoying.
Yeah,
Aside from all of that, just on, like, a movie
it looks
level
really
before we
nice,
move on, yeah, I think it's like, yeah, I think it looks good. I like Derek
especially for
Sanfrancis is
something
a
like this. Yeah.
right, and he's like a guy to me where it's like, I don't think Derek Sanfrancis is like a genius, but he, like, clearly is, like, just a guy who knows how to make a movie, like very competent, like, knows how to do. And I've thought this about Place Beyond the Pines. I've thought this about Blue Valentine. Like, this is a guy with skill that, like, never is, like, super flat. Like, you're never gonna be like, "Holy shit."
Mhm.
And, like, watching this movie, I was never like, "Holy shit." But, like, it all works, you know? It's all there, in the way that you want it to be, and even to your point, like, more so than it should be for a movie like this. Um, so I don't know if you have any other thoughts about that or about the filmmaking, but
I was just thinking because I'm looking at Channing Tatum's Crimson Chin right now on my screen. I think that a version of this movie I would have liked better. That's like the same script, right? Or like a very similar script of like trying to be a kind of like whatever retelling of the real events instead of like twisting them too much, or even more than they already have. Uh, is if they cast like a fucking little freak, like a weird guy that's not super conventionally attractive as the lead. You know what I mean?
does that, like, make sense for the role, though? Because it's like the story is obviously like all these women at church are like, "Oh my god, look at this handsome fucking guy," and, like, they all are interested in it. Like, and he's supposed to be charming and, like, handsome, so it's like,
The guy in real life
he's not
just
that
looks like
handsome,
a
but
normal guy in the
sure,
military.
but that's
Yeah.
like how, but, like, you want it, you wanna believe that that's how people respond to him, though, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So, I don't know if you would believe that, like, an entire table of single women would, like, freak out over him if he was just, like, some weird looking freak, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Or also Kirsten Dunst, her character is it Lee? Um,
yeah.
they meet at a park at 8 in the morning.
Mhm.
Bizarre first date. And then like
Yeah, it's also, like, I don't
and
know.
then they go directly from first date meeting at the park at 8 in the morning to come to my house and have sex with me. So they're having like
I thought that was kinda
9 a.m.
cool.
sex on the
I thought
first
that was
date.
kinda sick.
They're at
I
like
was like,
9
"This
a.m.
rocks." You don't know?
Yeah.
Because like, good for her, you know what I mean? I was like, "Yeah, like, you know, why not?" Why I liked I do think there's, like, a point that you're making about how she feels like this just, like, you know, regular woman from North Carolina or wherever they are, but, like but I think she's also, like, a pretty compelling character where I'm like, it's cool that she's, like, as forward as she is and that she's, like, a big member of the community. It makes me feel fucking worse for her when all of this shit like, I think that stuff is set up really well because it's, like, not like, you again, it's easy to dismiss it as, like, "Oh, this is, like, some fucking woman who just, like, loves church or whatever." It's like, she does just seem like a good
No,
person, you know what I
yes. No,
mean? It's like
she is like
she's
a
like
good
a
person.
very
Yeah.
active member of her community. She's, like, helping everybody.
Yeah.
She is trying her best as a single mother, and then, like and then again, I like and experiences may vary, but, like, I believed their chemistry, and I was like, I believe that, like, I think Kirsten Dunst is a good enough actor to sell me on the fact that she really cares about this guy.
Right.
So, like, when you combine all of those things, I was like, yeah, I feel so fucking terrible for her. Like,
Yeah, no, that's my big thing was I felt really bad for everybody. I felt it's
yeah,
also it's like, man, this guy is so stupid that he didn't even realize that like this is so
like,
problematic.
hurting these people,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know, like, again, I think that, like, really just makes it all worth it for me because that to me, at the end of the movie, I was just like, "This fucking hurts." I was like, "This is sad." And my experience, at least in the past with Derek Sanfrance movies, is like I watch them and I'm like, "Oh, that was fucking sad." You know, like it's like I'm watching this guy's movies because it makes me feel worse about being alive.
Right.
So in that sense, I think he achieves it pretty well with like probably just like the worst character out of all of them so far. Um, so I don't know. That yeah, I thought that was
Yeah,
interesting. I
I understand how somebody could really like this movie. I understand why you really like it. I just I don't
yeah.
know.
You
I
don't
found
see
it a
it from the
little
perspective
annoying.
of like I'm won over and like rooting for this guy, you know? Like you
Oh,
don't see it from the perspective of like
yeah.
I love this movie because this guy is like awesome and and I'm sad that he lost.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the well, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm watching this movie and it's like, bro, when he right what during the heat moment when he's driving to the airport, I okay, fast forward 30 seconds if you don't wanna hear how this movie ends. When he's driving to the airport,
I feel like you kind of
I
spoiled the movie 5 seconds into our conversation.
I thought in my head because 'cause it's so again, it's so obvious that that's what he's gonna do, right? But it's like, while I was like, bro, if he gets on that plane and like goes to another country or whatever, and we see him on a beach and he like either kills himself or is like really sad that he whatever, that would be a I would be much happier with that than what he's I know what he's gonna do. And then he, that's not what
He
happened
does
anymore.
what
But
you
I
know
was like,
he's gonna
yeah.
do.
And I
Yeah,
was like, I don't, it's just so obvious. It's so obvious. And it's like, I know it's like a comforting movie and it's supposed to be cute. And families all across America are gonna watch it on Thanksgiving when it is on Netflix or Peacock or whatever, and or they're gonna really like it, and that's fine. And I love them for that.
sure. Yeah, okay. Anything else you
Sorry.
wanna say? So you didn't like any of the performances?
The performances are they're like, I mean, Lakeith Stanfield's doing like his Lakeith Stanfield thing, right? He could
Sure.
like do this role in his sleep, and then Channing Tatum. I don't like his role. Like Channing Tatum is doing his best, right? But I think that like the
Yeah,
role is kind of tough. Because it's like I don't find Channing Tatum charming in this movie, but so much of that has to do with the character he's playing. Where it's like I don't think this character
yeah,
is charming at all. I don't think
interesting.
you know what I mean.
I
And then
I find it so easy to be charmed by Channing Tatum that I just, like,
interesting.
don't I mean, that's just, like, a me like, I love Channing Tatum, I've talked about this so many times,
Yeah, of course.
like,
He's in the first
you
step up,
know
of course.
yeah,
Um,
and a lot more than that, but
yeah,
he just is a charming guy to me, and he's, like, one of those people where it's, like, he's one of, like, the easiest to root for, like, like gorgeous everyman, you know what I mean? Where he's like he could both be like clearly a supermodel and like an everyman at the same time, and I will want to see him succeed in any situation that he's in. Of course, like you said, in this case, it's tough because he's playing a character that you really don't want to root for. But I think I think this is like a very good performance from him trying
Have
to
you
like
seen
be in that space.
have you seen Public Enemies, Michael Mann?
No, but I should watch it. I'm sure he's
Channing Tatum's in that. He's
yeah,
like a really he's like a
he's
tiny role,
yeah,
but he's in it.
I know. But
Um,
I'd watch anything for him. That was the thing. Yeah, I don't know. I liked everybody in this movie. I guess I was like I just
everybody's yeah.
I think, like, getting a pretty big cast of really talented actors to play, like, super small roles made it feel like all of this was, like, really happening, you know? Like, Ben Mendelsohn shows up for, like, 2 scenes to be a priest, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I mean, Ben Mendelsohn is a fucking unreal actor," you know? Like, for him to just show up, I was like, "Yeah, that's the fucking local priest." Like, of course it is. So, like, little stuff like that, I was like, I thought everybody was really good. Um, I don't know.
No, I agree. I think everybody does a pretty good job. This
Right.
movie is
But
gonna
that
be
was just
number
like,
1 on Netflix, right? For like 6 weeks in a row.
we'll see. I mean, I think it's gonna have some. Well, also, do we even know that it's like gonna be put on Netflix, or are you just like assuming that that's like where it's gonna land?
Feels like it's gonna end up, right? So it's
Sure.
gonna be a
Yeah.
big streaming thing, probably. It just
Yeah.
feels like that.
I
It
could
feels
see
like
that.
that because
Yeah.
it feels like the people that are gonna really connect with this movie don't go to the movie theaters also, which is a different
Yeah.
conversation about the business of film, but
Right. Yeah. That's a longer conversation for a different pod.
yeah. I'm
But
happy I wanted to like it this movie also more than I did.
yeah.
I'm a
Well,
little
at least you could
disappointed.
acknowledge like some of its successes, even if you just fucking hate this guy.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Because
'cause
it's
like
clearly like that's what's happening here, right? Is that like you pretty much just don't like this movie exclusively because you can't root for this guy?
well, it's just like I dislike spending time with this guy, and this movie's 2 hours and some
Yeah,
change of spending time with this guy, you know?
yeah.
Like,
No, it's
I don't
tough,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. I can't argue with that. Anyway, Roof Man, um, what did you know, let us know what you thought.
Rough man. Do you know anybody that says rough for roof in
Oh,
real life?
instead of roof? Oh,
Yeah,
I really don't like that. I feel like I've probably heard someone say what is do you know what the region for that accent is?
I don't actually.
Okay, because I
It
feel
might
like
be a Midwest thing. I'm not
I
sure.
feel like I've probably heard somebody say that before, but that's like really I don't like that at all. That like that like really irks me. Anyway,
Oh, it's a northeastern, and oh, it's a New York City. It's a New York City and New Jersey thing, actually, is what it's saying.
oh,
It's
it is
saying
not.
rough. That's what it's I Googled it, and that's what it says. It's a New York City and New Jersey thing.
I I don't know. Okay, I guess like I could
I don't
hear
know.
it, but like that's not how. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I don't really know anybody who doesn't say roof, but I do think they like. I could hear people like say it a little bit differently.
There's a little stank
But
on it,
it
like
doesn't sound like rough though. I don't know that I've ever, like, heard somebody say
roof,
rough
like a
to me. I
roof,
mean, roof
like a
yeah,
roof.
like a roof and they'll say it like, yeah, like, kinda,
Yeah,
like, weird. I could see that, but like a flat, like, rough, I don't think that I've ever heard unless that's, like but I could see what you're saying. I could picture it in my head now as, like, a yeah, I don't
like an old guy going "Do you want to go see the roofman, the
now you sound like
roofman?"
you're German.
I don't. Okay, whatever. Let's move on.
All right, yeah, we're gonna talk about some news before we wrap up. Of course, reminding you to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked listening to us talk about Roofman. Rate the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and follow us at all of the links in the description. We don't have a ton of news today, but there are some pretty significant pieces of news to talk about. Mainly one significant piece of news that has to do with the movie we were just talking about. Um, Amazon MGM Studios is picking up Heat 2 from Warner Bros., making the project officially a go. Leonardo DiCaprio, Austin Butler, Adam Driver, and Bradley Cooper are all circling roles, but no offers have been made yet.
I am worried about this. I am worried about this.
Really?
I'm Yeah, well, I'm worried about here's my thing. I'm not worried about the movie getting made. I'm happy the movie's getting made. the movie should have been made. This should have happened already. I am annoyed that Warner Brothers was being stingy about the fucking budget, bro. It's like this is fucking it's Heat 2. You know the movie Heat? You put a 2 after it. It's like it's
Yeah.
what are we talking
You
about?
know
Like
this
what
movie that literally every person who watches it thinks it's the best thing that's ever happened in the universe?
like truly I'm not like it has to be one of the most iconic American movies and like in American culture, right? Like is it one of the 30 most iconic movies in American culture? Maybe I'm doing too much, but it's like it's not the Wizard
It's
of
hard to tell.
Oz, right? It's not the Wizard of
It
Oz,
was
it's
a
not Star
successful
Wars,
movie
but
at the
it's like
time, and it has
right below
gotten
that.
yeah, it's a successful movie at the time, and it's gotten better legs as time has passed. Like, people appreciate it more and more with every passing year.
The fucking like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino have been in like no movies together, but they have this whole like, oh, it's such an event when they're in movies together just because of Heat, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
because
true.
like in The Godfather Part 2, like that's one of the greatest movies of all time, obviously, right? Um, they're both in that, but like they don't share any screen time together. They have one of the most incredible conversations in the history of movies together in Heat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
I
that's
love that
true.
movie. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
We love that movie. We everybody loves that movie, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it is the easiest I was literally just talking about this, but it is the easiest movie to recommend to anybody you know. Like, it's like,
yeah.
there's no I have never every single time one of my friends has asked me for a movie recommendation because they're getting into movies, I always start with, like, Heat as the benchmark, and
And it's like
every
3
single
hours
person
long.
yeah, and every single person I recommend it to comes back to me, and they're like, "Dude, that was unbelievable," and I'm
Because
like, "We all think this. We
it's like the
literally
most
all
romantic
think this."
movie ever made somehow. It's like
Yeah. It is an unbelievable movie,
it's about a
and
bunch of criminals that are kind of dumb in their own way, but because they're stuck in their ways. Anyways,
yeah.
yeah, he is incredible. He's that's my one thing where it's like Warner Brothers sucks because it's like Michael Mann has obviously been thinking about this for so long, and him and whatever his creative partners like they planned out this Heat 2 script and they planned it around like a $220 million budget or something. And Warner Brothers was like, no, it's like too much money. It's like kill yourself. Anyways, so now it's like they reworked it. I think it's down to like 150-ish million dollars is what Michael Mann is now at, like for like planned the production around, and like that's what Amazon's gonna do. And now it's about casting. I'm fine with that. Casting is I'm concerned about this. What do you think about this cast? Or no,
So,
what do you think? Just give me your
you're
thoughts.
not
Give me your
concerned
thoughts.
about the people in the cast, you're concerned about where
I'm
they
concerned
get
about
positioned in the movie.
I'm concerned about how many of these people are actually going to be in the movie, right?
Right,
And
sure,
like
yeah.
who are they going to
Well,
play in
that
the
yeah, because
movie? Like
that's what I was thinking about, which is, like, obviously, if in some magic world, if we get all 4 of these people in the
it's the
movie, this
greatest
is the
cast of all
great
time.
yeah, literally the best movie that ever
Literally,
gets
like
made.
not like name a better cast than that. Like
No, you can't.
it's like it's so
Especially because it's
hard.
like, think about all the supporting performances that they would surround those 4 people with. You
Right.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, think about the 15th build person in this cast, assuming that they got these 4 guys at the front of it, would be like a world-class actor.
Yeah.
Like, um, yeah, I share the same concern of, like, are these 4 people circling the same role and only one of them is
That's
gonna
mine.
get it? That would be unfortunate. I think
Yeah.
the my cause for optimism is that people like, specifically guys like this, guys like Adam Driver, guys like Leo, guys like Bradley Cooper,
They want to be the
even
lead.
Austin Butler. No, no, no. What I'm gonna say
Oh,
is
what are you gonna say?
they have such an appreciation for a guy like Michael Mann. Like,
Yes.
there is just a real, like, the way that we talk about Michael Mann is the way that a guy like Adam Driver thinks about Michael Mann, where he's like, in
And they
my
understand the
head,
significant it's Heat too, and I think they
yeah.
all recognize that.
And I think Adam Driver would be like, "Yeah, dude, I'll be the 3rd lead in Heat 2 if it means that I get to be in Heat 2 directed by Michael Mann." Like, it is, like, to that degree where people because you know, you think about Ferrari even, and it's like, the movie was not a huge success.
Mhm.
People do not like it as much as fucking Heat or whatever else, and nobody care. Adam Driver is like, that's Michael Mann. Like, it's like, what else would I do? But
And that movie
and
kicks
of
ass.
course, exactly, and of course he would come back and do it a million times again. And
Yeah.
so, like, the level of, like, just like, from so many people's perspectives, it's like, this is the best living director that you could work with before it's too late. I don't
One of
see
the in
why.
terms of, that's what I'm talking about, like, because he's so old. He's up there with those. Like he's in the
Yeah,
Martin Scorsese
yeah.
class of dudes. You know,
Yeah,
he's like
and
yeah
so if there's a world in which this is kind of like to me, I'm like, who's who's the Jalen Brunson here? You know what I mean? Who's taken a $10 million pay cut to be the third lead in Heat 2 so that all of us could fucking relish in this miracle that you guys put together. You know what I mean? Because it's
yeah.
like because somebody will, and even if it's not these four guys, somebody will. You know, like it's like there are going to be significant names attached to this project.
So here's what I here ideal. Okay, so the rumors forever have been like after as for as long as like the book has been out and Michael Mann is like I want to make this movie. I have a script version of this book, like and I want to like I'm working on like fleshing it out and getting production details and figuring it out. The rumors were always like conversations with Adam Driver and Austin Butler. Those were the two guys that kept coming up. It would be Austin Butler playing Chris, who was the Val Kilmer character. He would be playing both young Chris and old Chris.
Yeah,
So the Chris that takes place before Heat and the Chris that takes place after Heat, because the book jumps around a lot. Um,
yeah.
and then spoiler for Heat, Neil dies at the end, but Neil is in this old storyline or young storyline, right? And it would be Adam Driver plays young Neil. That was like the old rumors, right? It would be like um, Adam Driver playing young Neil, and then Austin Butler playing Chris.
Mhm.
Now we add in Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio, according to a Deadline article, says that he is circling the role of Chris,
Right. So
which
would he
makes
be old Chris?
that's the thing. That's the thing. So like, what the fuck does that mean? Because it makes it because he's more of the lead than the Neil character. Like he's just way more of the story, right? So
Yeah.
it's like that makes sense from him being like, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm going to be the main character, right, or whatever. But it's like you're older than Val Kilmer. You're gonna be
Yeah.
young Chris? And also, like, are we gonna have 2 actors play Chris? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't it's very interesting.
But
That's
okay,
weird.
so based on from your perspective as somebody who has read Heat 2,
Yeah.
do you is it not like a meaty enough role to separate the two? Like would Austin Butler be like, "Oh, there's no way I'm just going to be the young version," and Leo is like, "I'm just going to be the old version?"
I just don't think it makes sense. It's like a 10-year gap. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So they
It's like
wouldn't be it would like look weird.
it
Yeah.
would be it would just be weird, you know?
Yeah.
That's my big thought where it's like it should just really it should just be Austin Butler because that's the thing where it's like Austin Butler doesn't fit in anywhere else. Like Austin Butler should just be Chris. I think that's my big out of all of these casting, which is great because he's the actor I care about the least
Yeah,
out of these
he's
four guys.
and
He's most
probably, like, the least talented, at least based off of, like, the resumes that they have right now.
exactly, but it's like he's the most obvious. Like that's Chris, bro. Like that.
Yeah,
Like he like I don't even want anybody else to be considered to play
yeah,
that character. And like Austin Butler's just Chris. That makes so much sense, right?
yeah,
So I
but
don't
then it's
know.
like, what do we do with the rest of the pieces? So,
Yes. So,
especially because the guy who you most imagine locking down a role out of these 4 is Leo, where it's like,
yeah.
if somebody is gonna secure a spot in this movie, then Michael Mann's gonna build it around Leo because it's Leo,
So
and
the way that if I here's how I would situate these four actors, and let me know what you think, right? As
okay,
somebody that knows Heat, right? I would say Adam Driver plays young Neil.
yeah,
Um, I would say Austin Butler plays Chris. I
mhm,
would say Leo plays young Vincent Hanna, which is the Al
right.
Pacino character.
Tough.
I don't know who the fuck else is gonna play him. I don't know, like how
Yeah,
the
it's
fuck
like
do you recast Al Pacino?
I
Like,
think you're just picking either Leo or one of these guys.
right? It's because some people
You
are
know,
saying like, oh no, Adam Driver makes more sense as young as Vincent, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I don't really see
I know,
either
I
of
mean,
them.
I could
Like,
actually in my head, I could see that working.
I don't know, I guess
I do see the vision, and I do think he, like, can I mean, like, we both agree Adam Driver is, like, literally the fucking best,
yeah,
but I
no,
do
like
think he can, like
literally the best. Yeah.
yeah, but I do think he can, like, play to the material, where it's like, I think he could ham it up in the same way that Pacino did,
Hmm.
because like I just have so much faith in him as an actor. And I think he's even like I mean, think about like Black Klansman, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like It's like he could do that. If
Okay,
that's
so
if that's
maybe
the role that's assigned to him, he can do that.
so okay, so okay, what I would do again, I would do like I'm saying, like Adam Driver as young Neil, Austin Butler as Chris. I would do
And
put
then
Leo
Bradley
as
Cooper is
Vincent,
the villain?
Bradley Cooper as Wardell, who is the villain,
Okay,
who is Wardell is like an evil, despicable rapist, murderer. Rapist,
right.
like big part of his character is that he's a rapist, right? Rapist, murderer, like
Yeah.
actual evil, zero redeeming
And
qualities.
this is good because anybody could play this role,
Yeah,
in the sense that, like, you don't have to think about it in connection to the first Heat.
exactly. Yeah, it's like anybody. It's
So
and also like they don't physically describe Wardell very much in the movie,
right.
in the book rather.
So there's no, like, worrying if Bradley Cooper gets put in that part. Does Bradley Cooper make sense
It just
in the
like
other
is like
parts? Like, not really.
no, and
You
it's
know?
also like, and I think Bradley Cooper is such an incredible actor. He would do so good as this role, but then it goes into like, would Bradley Cooper be okay with playing like, and I cannot trust enough, like such an evil, despicable, like zero redeeming qualities. Like he's like in terms of his crimes, rapist is number one. That is his thing. He's a rapist murderer. He's a rapist of like children. Like he's
Okay.
like no,
Jeez.
that's I just can't like it's like this the villain is like so sick and twisted and villainous, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
it's like
So this is just like
would Bradley Cooper
just a hard thing to give
that's
to
the thing where it's like,
anybody.
does a movie star want to do that?
But you know what?
I think
How
Bradley Cooper would be
fucking
good at that though. He'd
how
be sick
fucking
at that.
cool would it be if a movie star did though?
That's
You
what I'm saying.
know?
Bradley Cooper has to take one from the team and fucking. It's either him or Leo. That's my thing. Where it's like for like Wardell, him or Leo has to have to do that. I think. Um,
Yeah.
and it's like
I don't know that I could see Adam Driver or Austin Butler doing that.
no. I mean, I guess Adam Driver could do it. I
I
cannot
could
see Austin Butler do it
see
at all.
well, no, yeah, I mean, I could
But
see Adam Driver in the sense that, like, he's talented enough to pull anything off, but just, like, you know what I mean? It's like, that is, like, so clearly a role that, like, Bradley or Leo have to elevate themselves to.
yeah,
That's just, like and from Bradley's perspective, I'm like, practice what you preach a little bit, you know what I mean? It's like, do that, you know what I mean? It's like, you're
that's where I'm like,
like, the
bro.
way that Bradley Cooper presents himself, if he means everything that he talks about, he would do that.
Bradley Cooper needs to take one for the team and be Wardell. That's my big like that would be so even if these guys don't end up being in the movie and Bradley Cooper's Wardell, I'm like tremendous victory.
Yeah,
Actually, kind of because that would be so sick. Anyway, what do you think? I
yeah.
mean, what do you think about this though?
No,
Um,
I think that makes the most sense. I just wonder if it's not a situation of, like, based on what you're describing, we just have, like 3 of the 4 here, you know? It's like it seems like based on what you're describing is that, like, we either get Leo or Austin Butler. And then, like, Adam Driver very clearly fits his box, Bradley Cooper very clearly fits that box, and it's like someone's gonna have to be Chris, and it's one of those 2 guys, and we
yeah,
can't have both.
that's the thing. And it makes sense that he want that Leo would want to be Chris because he's kind of the lead in the
Right.
story, right? But it is like it's just not because that's where people were speculating. Oh, he's going to be Neil, and it's like Neil's not the main character, really.
Yeah.
He's only
It's
in one
also
of these
like
storylines.
I think I think we're like again, in the same way I mean, you made the comparison of, like, Michael Mann as Scorsese, right?
Mhm.
He's in that, like, tier of director who is, like, at an old age. I think, like, at this point in Michael Mann's career with material this good, everybody's and maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I'm just like, I don't see a world in which they're not willing to do what is best for the sake of the project. Because, like, what
Yeah,
you get out of a movie like this is like, I mean, weird. I mentioned at the beginning of the pod how good One Battle After Another is. And, like, those are not stars in the same way that these 4 people are stars. But it's like everybody is benefiting so much from being in this movie, like from being in One Battle After Another, where it's like, if you're Benicio del Toro, duh. If you're Tiana Taylor, duh. And it's like, and you're getting all the flowers for it as a result. Leo just made a movie with Scorsese where he wasn't the lead.
yeah,
Lily Gladstone was the lead.
yeah.
And it was an amazing Leo performance. Like
It's probably my favorite Leo performance.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like if he can see the vision, which, like, anybody with a brain should,
Well, that's the other
considering
thing.
what we have,
You haven't
like
read the Heat book, bro. This movie could be better than the first Heat. That's what's crazy. It's like just because
Yeah,
the book is big and there's so much going on. Every character has so much to do. There's so much going on, bro. It's like it could be
yeah,
better than the first movie, especially if
yeah.
you get all these actors in there. Like, oh
That's
my
what I'm saying.
god.
Yeah, it's like I think you would so comfortably accept being the fourth lead in a movie where the fourth lead shines as much as that one. I mean, it was like
Yeah,
even like to use the example from the year prior, like Oppenheimer. It's like look at how much everybody, dude, the fucking 15th lead in Oppenheimer, people were fucking raving about. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you would just sign up for that, even as a movie star, because of just the nature of the project. And this is like one of those projects, like in the same way that Oppenheimer was for that year and One Battle After. Like it's like this would just be the movie of that year that like people fucking in an ideal world. Like it's like that's what you're signing up for is like making the big movie of the year. Like so, duh. Like I don't know. I hope that that's their perspective on it, but
Yeah, I'm really afraid that like all three of these guys want to be Chris or something crazy.
yeah,
Like it's like I'm afraid that Adam Driver's like, oh, I'll be Neil, and then like the other three guys are like, I want to be Chris, and it's like, oh my god,
right,
guys.
and then we don't get any of them. But the thing is like and again, I know that, like, we love all of these guys so much, but there's so much talent to go around, and there's, like, so many guys that we love that it's like, someone's gonna step up. Like, let's say it is Adam Driver as Neil, and then the other 3 guys, like, compete for 1 spot, and we only get Leo. It's like, Leo plus Adam Driver
That's
plus
so
2
exciting.
other people that they
Yeah.
find, those 2 other people that they find are gonna be terrific. Like, it's,
Mhm.
I do
Yeah, it's
have
Heat too.
kind of faith in it regardless.
Yeah, there's some, like, other characters, in the movie, that are not as major as these 4 that I've discussed that, and it's, like, names getting thrown around to play those characters and rumors are, like, Ana de Armas was reportedly maybe, like, in speculation talks, and it's, like, these are, again, other just movie stars, you know? Like, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, that would be sick. Do you have any, like, random actors that you would just, like, shout out as, like, "This is a guy I wanna see in it," in any capacity? Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be
so
those 4.
I said this, when I started reading the book, I was like this is just how I was imagining it, and people that also because most people haven't read the book, people that did read the book were like, what are you talking about?" Like, a little confused, but I was like, I want Hunter Schafer to play, young, Charlene, who's in the first
Oh,
movie.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I would welcome that.
Yeah. I guess, like,
Yeah, duh.
specifically if it's, like, Austin Butler, I think them together would be really good. If it's Leo, it becomes a little whatever, but,
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, who are the other big stars that, like, would circle a project like this? It's like, would
let's
I
get
don't
Chase
know.
Infinity in there. I
Sure,
don't know
yeah,
who the fuck she would
yeah.
play, but,
Like, what I'm just, like, looking at, like, actors who I've seen in the most movies on my letterbox to think of, like, who is, like, a big star that might wanna be involved in this in some capacity. I'm like, would we finally get the return of, like, Jake Gyllenhaal? Like, would he finally make a good movie again?
no,
I
yeah.
would I would welcome
I
that
mean,
a
Jake
lot.
Gyllenhaal as a young Neil, that sure,
That would also be perfect
that
cast.
would be
Do you think
cool.
Jake Gyllenhaal could play that villain that you described? Or would that be too, like, silly? Like, you
He
think
would
you know what
make
I
it ve
mean?
I don't know, I feel like he would do it very silly because he's such an intense guy, right?
Oh my god, you know who would be so good for this movie?
What?
Okay, let me see if you could just guess this based off of this little thing, but it's like
Okay.
actor actor who for a long time we didn't think much of because of the big movies that he's in that has so clearly shifted gears to being a serious actor.
So you're talking about The Rock?
No, 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 no.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Bet more serious than that. Like guy who is really about it. Like has left the blockbuster slop to be like really about making quality movies.
Oh, who are you talking about?
Sebastian Stan.
Oh, Sebastian Stan. Yeah,
He would be
no.
awesome in this
He
movie.
would be great. Of course, yeah, he would be great. Oh my
Oh, I
gosh.
just like saw that and I was like, wow, that would be fucking terrific. I bet
He
you
would be
Sebastian
great.
Stan could even play the villain.
Yeah, he could probably play yeah. The villain is just such, like, a grimy,
Yeah, but
disgusting,
like I
like
could just
yeah.
so easily see Sebastian Stan like because he's that guy where it's like everything that you just described, like somebody has to take like some huge risk. It's like like he just fucking left Marvel and was like, I'm gonna take the biggest risks a person has ever taken in my
Yeah, I'm gonna
career.
be in a
Like,
Radu Jude movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
like it's like he literally like is so on board with taking those risks where I think like if you were gonna convince a big star to take a chance on something like that, like he might be the guy to just
yeah.
like fucking throw himself out there and be like, yeah, I'll play the fucking worst person in history. That would
The
be awesome.
When I was reading the book, I kept imagining Oscar Isaac as Vincent,
Ooh,
as the
yeah. There's no world in which Robert Pattinson gets involved in this, huh? That's like impossible.
I would like him to play. I don't know. It unless he did like a physical transformation, right?
Is there also here's another name I'd throw out. Is there a world in which we get or I don't know, maybe you think he's like too old or something. I don't know like what role he could fit into. Is there a world in which we get Christian Bale in this?
He
I
could
feel like
Christian Bale could be the
he's been
villain.
on the he's been going down a little bit recently. I would like one of the best living actors to pick themselves back up.
Yeah, no, Christian Bale I think would be an interesting guy to play the villain too, because he's so about that, like being a terrible person
Yeah.
in life, you know?
Yeah, he lives that shit. He's fine. He'll play any character.
Yeah.
He's here's a name I would throw out as not any of those 4 characters, but as, like, set dressing. Somewhere in the movie, you need John Bernthal to show up, right?
Yeah, so John Bernthal, he's I think on fan casting, like he was like the favorite to play Neil. Like people were like, "Oh, we want John Bernthal to play Neil" on like fan casting websites. Uh which I guess cuz
Yeah.
he just like kind of looks similar-ish to Robert De Niro, I
Yeah, I'm just
guess.
thinking of, like, little, like, like, I'm just
Well,
thinking
like
of people
John
to
Bernthal just
fill
being
the
one of the guys, yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking of people to, like, fill
Yeah,
everything
we
in.
want like a Dune 1 or like Oppenheimer level
Yeah.
cast
You
for
know, I
two.
just saw I'm, like, looking up, like, what people are saying about it. I saw people mention, like, as little as, like, for, like, smaller roles, like, a Shea Wiggum has to show up, you
Oh
know? Like,
yeah.
Shea Wiggum would make complete sense somewhere in there. Um, yeah, I don't what about, is the you think there's a world in which we get, like, a Ben Affleck?
No, but
No?
that would be cool if Ben Affleck was in the
Yeah,
movie. I will say, like, when the movie does get cast, because hopefully this movie gets made and, God forbid, fucking, he dies, Michael Mann dies or something. But, like,
yeah.
in a world where this movie, like, we get the official casting, um I will be most disappointed if Adam Driver is not in the movie as like a principal character, right?
Out
That
of
will be
those
my
4.
biggest disappointed out of the 4. If Adam Driver drops out,
Yeah,
that will be very sad to me. After that, I'll be most disappointed if Bradley Cooper's out of the movie. Because again, I know you like
yeah,
Bradley
this is, like
Cooper, but like
I like Bradley Cooper a lot, and
yeah,
I
I
actually,
really like Bradley
not to
Cooper.
plug another podcast, but when I just recorded the Real Talk podcast earlier today,
Mhm.
um, we talked a little bit about the point of like Bradley Cooper pre-director was like that was like a real movie star.
Yeah.
Like he was very prominent, like Hangover, American Sniper, like big guy. And then of course he's like gone down this like director route. And it's like
Where
if
he
he was
wants to be
gonna
an
jump back
auteur.
into that,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like put him in a fucking action movie. Give him a gun, dude. You know? Like
Bro, make him the villain in a Michael Mann movie. Make him the villain in Heat
yeah.
2.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at other random people who I would love to fill it. I'm like, this. I mean, Jesse Plemons is too good of an actor, maybe to be the fifth lead, but like Jesse
Right.
Plemons being somewhere in there would be awesome.
He looks so
Like
freaky in Bul Bulgonia.
Begonia,
Yeah,
yeah, that
Begonia.
movie, yeah. No, I know, but I'm like, he could do anything, you know what I mean? And he just
Yeah.
would also, I think, he just would be the fifth lead in Heat too if he was asked. Like, he doesn't really
Or, like, Emma
care
Stone
much.
could be young Charlene.
That's true.
I don't think
Oh,
she's
interesting.
actually any younger than Charlene in the first movie,
Yeah,
but,
but Emma Stone kinda has, like, she could play such a wide range of
exactly, yeah.
ages. She can, um, I'm assuming worst case scenario for you would be an actor that I really like. Um, what if Miles Teller got cast in Heat too?
Oh, like, Miles Teller's young Neil? Uh,
Maybe not young Neil, but just as
that would be a
or
disaster.
just one of the major roles.
That would Okay, if he's young Neil, it's like, oh, I kind of understand, but it's like not ideal. If he's any of the other major roles, it's a disaster. It's like actually a disaster if he's any of the other, like he's young Vincent
Yeah.
Hanna. What the fuck are you talking about? Like
Okay, but what if this is like the redemption you were looking for? You know what I mean? It's like
him
what if
doing
he
an
gets
Al
past this.
Pacino impression.
No, 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 no. I'm saying like young Neil. Like it's like what
Oh,
if
like
he's
not
young
young Neil.
Neil and he is like so fucking good that everybody's like Miles Teller's back.
Yeah,
Like
no, I would actually, I would like to see that. Not really. I want Adam there to be young Neil. But if it's Miles Teller, that would
what if
be
he's like
interesting.
great?
That yeah, that would be interesting. That would be a
Um
good role for him.
yeah, I don't know.
He should actually
It's
be
just
on his
so
hands
fun
and
to like
knees sucking someone's cock to get that role. Actually,
it's just kind of fun to like go down a list of actors and be like, "Huh, could this person work?" And he
yeah, that's funny. He does
I
work. I
don't
haven't
know.
even considered him, but yeah, he could be young Neil for sure.
Yeah. I'm just like wondering who, Chris Hemsworth is on this list. I'm like, he could play a role somewhere. I don't know what he would do, but um I could see who else. There's so
Oh,
many
Chris Hemsworth's
people.
gonna be the villain because like look at like he was the villain in Furiosa, right? But it's like but he was like
He
it's not
played
even like he was
Despicable pretty well in that, but then this is
he
like what you're
looks
describing
good
sounds
and
so
stuff.
much worse.
No, yeah, he's like a way worse guy. Like that's the thing. Like the whole point of Wardell is like he's like the worst of human. Like he is the worst possible person. Like he's a child rapist, and he like gets
Yeah.
joy in like it's not only just like raping. It's like also like just like having total power, like controlling these whatever. It's these
Yeah.
disgusting horrible
Oh,
person, right?
speaking of Dune, I could see Josh Brolin being somewhere in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Again, not as one of the 4. This is just like
he's
people
way
who are
too old.
filling the.
Yeah, he's way too old
Yeah,
to be
but
a
that's what
major
I'm saying.
villain.
These are just like
Yeah,
people who are filling the cast,
yeah.
like just like in any capacity.
Josh
Yeah, I don't know. We
Brolin's
could
gonna be in The Running Man, and he looks oh maybe looks good.
That movie looks good. I'm like every single time I see the shot in the trailer where it's Glenn Powell and Josh Brolin face to face, I'm like,
Yeah,
what happened to his fucking face, dude? Like Josh
Josh
Brolin's
Brolin.
face. Yeah, it's like, why does he look like that, bro? Like it's so you know what I mean? It's like he's hard to look, and I'm like, I love Josh Brolin. Don't get me wrong, great actor, huge fan. And like he scares me a little bit. Like it's like I mean, obviously he got like some work done. It's just like yeah, it's like it makes his face look like it's like not this is like extreme, but it's like veering in the direction of uncanny valley where you're like, what is going on with like his chin and like teeth? Like it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's very strange to look at. So last name, and then we can move on because I'm just like going crazy. Somewhere in the cast, imagine Adrian Brody.
Oh yeah, he would be
What a
so interesting as actually. Yeah, Adrian Brody's interesting.
Also could just so easily be the villain. I mean, that's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Adrian Brody could so easally play the most despicable fucking person alive, like, and you
yeah,
would believe it so well. I mean, that's
yeah.
like that might be a home run. What about Shia LaBeouf?
He's too hard to. I watched the Mega documentary. I would not. I like Shia LaBeouf as a
You
performer. Like
don't
I think
want
he's
him near Michael Mann.
exactly. I think he would kill Michael Mann after seeing what he was doing. So he was like just so hard to work with. On it's funny in the Mega doc. It's like every single actor just goes along with the ride except for Shia LaBeouf. Except he pushes back on the most nebulous stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Also, I said last name, but just because we just mentioned this movie, and this is for any role in any capacity, are you yay or nay on Glenn Powell being in the movie? Would that bother you, or would you like it?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I have no idea. That's he's
Interesting.
Glenn Powell's a weird guy. I'm excited for the Running Man, but he that's Chad Towers, bro. You know, like what
Yeah,
if
no, I know. He's like, you know what he, to me, he's like kind of pretty squarely fitting into like what Channing Tatum was 10 years ago. Like,
yeah.
I don't
He's
know, like,
probably a
you know
little
what I
bit
mean?
was yeah, no, I guess you're right. You're right. Yeah.
He's like willing to do like the comedy, like the studio comedies. He's like willing to do like the like romance. He's still clearly like could do action star as well.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
hard to like peg him down beyond like kind of what feels like frat bro. Like,
which is interesting because he's supposed to be like Tom Cruise's son,
yeah,
but it's he's not really fitting into that mold. Which
yeah.
is
We'll see
interesting.
how things develop. Of course, this is like
Yeah.
we're all we've talked about him a lot in recent years, but it's like you can't really like
Yeah.
nail a guy over the
It's
course of like a couple of years.
like Timmy is supposed to be like Leo's son, and then no, I'm not acknowledging it. Timmy was supposed to be
Okay.
like Leo's son, and he's like kind of fitting into that, except he's doing a little bit more franchise stuff with Dune, right? But then like Glenn Powell's supposed to be Tom's son, and he's like just not doing any any of like
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah. Fair point. Anyway, we'll just run through the rest of the news because none of this stuff is like nearly as exciting to talk about as the potential cast of Heat 2. But
Of course.
um, we got double Oceans news. George Clooney said that Oceans 14 is set to start filming next year. And speaking of, Bradley Cooper is in negotiations to replace Ryan Gosling in the Oceans prequel, co-starring Margot Robbie and directed by Lee Isaac Chung.
Why is it directed by Lee Isaac Chung?
I don't know. I get this is just what he's doing now.
Why?
I don't know. He's the fucking Twisters paycheck was probably too high.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not excited for this.
Yeah,
The prequel, why would their parents be interesting?
yeah, I don't know, but I will say it does kind of fit the mold of what we were just talking about, which is like letting Bradley pivot back to movie star. Like it's like that's a it's a movie star project. It's he's opposite Margot Robbie. It's a blockbuster. It's
Yeah, I
connected
guess
to a
like
big piece of IP.
and I
Like
love Margot Robbie on as like a movie star. Like I'm interested in her being in, even she's not in a lot of great movies or anything, but I'm just interested in
yeah.
her being in movies. The thing about is like Bradley Cooper's a better director than Lee Isaac Chung.
Oh
Do you think
sure.
that's crazy? You know what I mean? So it's like
I
I
don't
don't
know. I mean,
know. Like I don't know.
I really like Minari. I think Lee Isaac Chung like very clearly showed something with Minari, and but I just it's so hard to tell like because only certain people could really lean into like what he's doing and like do it successfully. Where it's like how many obviously there are directors who are capable of making a great Twisters, but it's like that ultimately is just Twisters, and it's like
Yeah.
Minari like shows something where you're like, oh, this is just a super talented person, but there's only so many people capable of like convincing you that they're like such talented directors while working with material like that. Like in that like blockbuster, Christopher Nolan has like done this so successfully of like, yeah, I make big blockbuster movies and I'm Christopher Nolan and like I'm an artist, but like not everybody is going to do that very successfully. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like Bradley Cooper's not making huge movies for everybody to watch. Like Maestro wasn't a fucking blockbuster. It's a
Maestro's a
streaming
big
movie,
production, but you're right.
Sure.
It wasn't Twisters. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's also just it's a big production that is like clearly centered on like his vision as an artist and not a
Yeah.
piece of IP.
Yeah. No,
So
you're right.
it's
It is different. They're
yeah,
different. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
You didn't why didn't you see the new Bradley Cooper in If? Could you like did you have the ability and you didn't want to fit it
I
in or
almost Owen almost convinced me to go, but at the like there were still tickets available at the tail end because it's the closing night movie.
Mhm.
There were still tickets available, but I had already spent so much money in New York that I was like, if it was
Okay.
normal price, I would have just gone. But because it's the closing night movie, it cost like $75. And I was like, I just can't just after spending hundreds of dollars in the city over 2 weeks, I was like, I can't justify spending $75 on a
No.
movie ticket. If it was $30, I would have just gone in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense. I was just wondering because none of my friends went and I was like I realized it was the closing night movie. I was like, why didn't anybody go?
yeah, no, I
Yeah,
totally would have seen it if I didn't have to pay 75 bucks for it.
right. Okay, that makes sense.
But I'm excited to watch it. We'll see. Anyway, other news here. We've got a bunch of casting additions. None of these I think are going to be significant to you, but I'm going to read you all four of them and you tell me what sounds even remotely worth talking about. Saoirse Ronan's been cast as Linda McCartney in Sam Mendes' Beatles biopics. Lady Gaga will appear in The Devil Wears Prada 2. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 has added Megan Fox to the cast, and Disney's live action Tangled movie is resuming early development with Scarlett Johansson circling the role of Mother Gothel.
Okay, I did not know
A
about
lot
that
of big
last one you
names I
just
just
said.
threw at you.
The Scarlett Johansson live action Tangled.
Tangled. Yeah.
We need to. I'm setting in a bomb threat to prevent this from happening. Uh,
It's
Jesus.
happening.
Mm. So the Saoirse Ronan in the Beatles movies, those Beatles movies are going to be so big. I don't think people are ready for how
Interesting
it's.
because I'm skeptical.
I'm
I'm like,
skeptical.
I
I think the
wonder.
movies might be bad. They're going to
No,
be
but
like
I'm
huge
wondering.
though.
It's like, are they going to like flop's
Yeah.
not the right word, but it's like, are they going to be as big of successes as they need to be to warrant everything involved. Because it's like these actors are at the height, like, there is now 8 actors in the cast, and when you include, like, the 4 Beatles plus their partners, like, including Saoirse Ronan and Anna Sawai, like, all these people, there are now 8 actors in the cast who are young actors at, like, their peak,
All
abandoning acting for, like, 3 years to make Beatles movies, you
all
know?
4 of these Beatles movies are going to make twice as much at least. Each individual one is going to make twice as much at least as the Bob Dylan movie, the James Mangold Bob Dylan movie. Like these movies are going to be like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Okay.
these movies are going to be like big, dude. Like,
What can we get a let me do a box office check on, A Complete Unknown. It made okay, that's actually really not even that much. It made 140 million worldwide. So you're
yeah,
saying these movies would make 280 million each? I
yeah.
could I
I think like
I
at least like cumulatively they're going to make over $1 billion probably,
yeah.
or
I
close to a
I could
billion
see
at
that.
least.
And I
Like,
but I think to me that is like that has to be the case. If each movie doesn't make like 250 million and like it adds up to like a 4 movie series of like $1 billion, it doesn't justify everything that went into these movies.
and who's shooting it? Isn't the that really big cinematographer that did the Batman? Isn't he shooting it? Um, what's his name?
Let me fact check you on this. We've got yeah, Greg Fraser's doing
Yeah,
it.
Greg Fra yeah, that's a big deal too. These movies are gonna, they're gonna
Yeah.
hit. They're gonna hit. I'm not saying that we're gonna like them, but they're gonna hit. You know what I mean? Like,
You know what though? It's like I can like these movies.
yeah, I'm not saying yeah,
When you
but I'm
think
not
about it on
yeah,
paper, it's like you just said like Greg Fraser's shooting it. There is a cast of 8 super talented young actors, many of which I am obsessed with. Paul
mhm,
Mescal, Saoirse Ronan, these are some of my favorite people in Hollywood.
yeah.
And I like the Beat I mean, not everybody doesn't like the Beatles, but,
Everybody likes the
you
Beatles.
know
Yeah, yeah,
sure,
yeah.
you know what I mean. It's like, it's the
Yes.
Beatles. Like, it's like, I'll watch 4 movies about the Beat that's not the hardest ask. I know, like, we've talked about it in a very negative light of being like, "Why do we need 4 Beatles movies?" And I agree with that sentiment, but it's like,
Yeah,
going
'cause
to
I
the
do think
movies
like yeah,
for 4 weeks in a row to watch some Beatles movies is not like, that's not asking a ton of me. I know it's asking a ton of, like, what I think is the biggest problem is like asking a ton of the audience where it's like, is the audience going to want to go see a new Beatles movie every 2 weeks for 2 months?
yeah.
I like that's like a weird way to release them for me. But from my perspective, I would go watch them. I don't know.
Oh man, these
That's
actors are
just
so man, this cast is so fucking nuts, bro. It's so nuts.
yeah, I know.
Paul
That's what I'm
Mescal,
saying. This
Harris
is
Dickinson, Joseph Quinn, Barry Keoghan, Saoirse Ronan, Anna
Anna
Sawai,
Sawai, Amy Lou
who's
Wood, and Mia McKenna Bruce.
yeah, Anna Sawai, who like isn't in any movies, but like, bro, like insane breakout in Shogun, like crazy breakout in Shogun.
Yeah, all
Um,
these people are breaking out. Amy Lou Wood is like having a super successful TV career. By the time that these movies come out, she will be only more popular.
yeah,
Mia McKenna Bruce has not been in like a ton, but she is like a kind of a prized young actress right now, like a person that people want to see and stuff. I know people really liked How to Have Sex. She's like, she's taking the like she's like a step behind these people in terms of popularity, but she is on the same route as these people of like these smaller independent movies that are like getting her noticed by Hollywood, and she is going to like she was just in The Fence, which I watched at New York Film Festival, and she's good in The Fence. Like it's like she can act. Like it's like everybody involved in this is just like a very promising young actor. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like it could just work. And I'm way more like if I was betting right now, I'd be like 9 out of 10 times I'm not gonna like these movies from my perspective right now. But I won't be like the most shocked if I end up being like, oh, those were actually pretty good.
and you know what? I'll go even further. Isn't it kind of cool that somebody's trying to do something a little interesting? Fuck it. It's like fuck it. Good on Sam Mendes for trying to do something. Like, yeah, fuck it. You make 4 Beatles movies. Whatever. Do something. The
This might
movies are
be the
dying,
most
bro. The movies
this
are
might be the most
dying.
positive conversation that
The movies are
anybody on the
dying.
internet has had about these Beatles movies.
Well, it's like, at least somebody's trying something out, you know? At
Yeah.
least at
I
least Sam
can't tell if
Mendes
you're
is
making
like,
fun of me right now or if you
"No,
believe
I'm
what you're
being dead ass.
saying.
I'm being so serious. I'm being so serious." At least Sam
Okay.
Mendes is, like, trying it out. At least Sam Mendes is like, "Oh, let me do so." Sam Mendes is like, "I fucking love the Beatles. I fucking love the let me make 4 Beatles movies." And it's like, "Okay, sure."
But didn't other people just try this out though? You're telling me James Mangold wasn't like, "I love Bob Dylan, let me make a Bob Dylan movie."
James Mangold wasn't like, "Let me make 5 Bob Dylan movies for
Well,
each of
there's
his
not
different
5 Bob
eras."
Dylans, there's 1 Bob
No, but
Dylan.
there are no, there's a movie called A Complete Unknown about how
Okay,
there's
sure.
5 Bob Dylans.
You named the wrong movie, but yes.
Um, no, what is it called?
No, A Complete Unknown is the new one.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
great,
Not There is
I'm not there.
the
Yes, I'm not there.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
sorry. Um,
You were like, "There's a movie called Complete Unknown with
yeah, I'm
5
sorry, I
Bob
gotta
Dylans." I'm
explain it.
like, "No,
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah,
not."
yeah, I'm not there, I'm not there, I'm not there, I'm not there. That movie's
No,
good.
yeah, sure. That's true.
But you
But
know what
it's
I
like
mean? At least it's
but
like,
that even proves the point. Someone did do it then. You're
and it
like,
was
"Nobody's
interesting.
doing this.
At
Someone
least
did
he
it
tried it
20
out
years
because
ago."
it was interesting. It was like Gus Van Sant. It was fine. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just it's so funny to, like, accidentally prove yourself wrong by being like, "Nobody's doing this except
Nobody's
for
doing
this
it
one."
now. It's 2025, bro.
Sure, okay.
We're fighting against the fucking the electric
Uh,
state. I have to go so soon.
okay. No thoughts about Lady Gaga and Megan Fox then?
Uh, Megan Fox as Toy Chica.
Yeah,
Sure,
okay.
whatever.
Last
I didn't
piece of
see the
news,
first
and
movie.
this is one that you could just share a very brief thought about because it's not totally important to us, but it's a piece of TV news, but I think it's significant TV news. Danielle Deadweiler is reportedly in talks to star in Ryan Coogler's The X Files reboot, which is like such a big speculative project post Sinners.
Yeah, what the
Um,
fuck is this wrong? I still am so like, I don't know what the fuck his X Files reboot's gonna look like. Because
yeah,
I've said this in like privately, I think in a group chat where I was like, it's confusing to me because the only value, in my opinion, the only valuable part of the X Files IP versus doing an original thing similar to the X Files, right? But
mhm,
distinct is just like the characters, or like the actual like the lead characters who are also just tied into those fucking actors, right? So if you're
yeah.
not doing those lead character like those same characters, it's like you don't it doesn't need to be the X-Files. It could be like anything. You know, like Men in
Which like
Black is
maybe it
basically
will
the
be.
X-Files, right? Like,
No, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like maybe they'll just use the name as a piece of IP and then just make something separate.
Yeah. That's the only thing where I'm like, I'm interested in it in that. Because it's like
Yeah.
X-Files, one of like X-Files, arguably the greatest TV show of all time. Like straight up. I don't know if you've seen it before. I haven't seen all of it, but it's like arguably the greatest TV show of all time, you know? And
Yeah,
so
I
it's
have
like,
not seen it, but I think I
yeah.
would like it a lot.
So it's like it's interesting. I don't know what to
Yeah.
make of it
I
because
mean,
it's like,
Daniel
yeah,
Deadweiler, terrific actor.
of
So,
course, yeah.
this, we'll see what happens, but it's like, I do, we talk a lot of shit about TV and for good reason. I do think it's like kind of interesting that somebody that's like breaking out as a prominent film director as much as Ryan Coogler is like, I'm going to go do a TV show. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know if TV were to ever get revived, it would have to get revived by people with fucking talent,
Yeah, by
like,
people that know what they're doing, exactly.
so
Yeah,
so it's like, yeah, maybe he just makes a fucking terrific X-Files show, or maybe
yeah.
he just makes one season of an X-Files reboot that people are like, "Well, that wasn't very good," and then he goes
Well,
back to making something
Jordan
like Sinners.
Poole
Jordan
produced
Peele.
that.
Yeah,
Jordan Peele is not Poole. Jordan Poole's the basketball
yeah,
player. Jordan Peele produced these. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
the what was it?
Uh, the Twilight Zone reboot, and
Yeah,
it's like
there
it
you
was just
go.
like bad.
And
It was just
nobody, like,
bad.
watched that. I don't think I've ever met somebody who watched it.
Well, because it was like everybody was like, "Oh yeah, it's like." Because here's the thing: the Twilight Zone reboot is Black Mirror. That's what you know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like it already
yeah,
exists,
it already
yeah.
exists. So it was like, oh, it's just like worse Black Mirror, basically.
Yeah,
And Black Mirror's already, not
okay.
perfect, right? No, but you know what I'm
Sure.
getting at,
No,
right?
no,
But
yeah, I
yeah,
know,
like
you're right. Listen, I'm saying that I still never finished the new season. I'm, like, the biggest Black Mirror fan in the world, and I gave up on it too, so it's,
yeah. Well, that's my thing where it's like like Twilight Zone is not like so original. It's like Black Mirror is literally just the new Twilight Zone, right? That's
yeah,
my thing with the X Files, where it's like X Files reboot. It's like the concept is not
yeah, you
so
could just do an
singular
original
where you
show,
could just do
yeah.
something similar to it and it be that's my anyway. Yeah, I keep saying that, but yeah. Yep.
No, I see your point. Okay, well, that's our last piece of news. We can wrap up there. Next week, I think this is a surprise to Doug still. We didn't even talk about this. Next week, episode 137, we've got 2 movies. Maybe we'll end up only picking one. After the Hunt or Black Phone 2.
I'm not
Uh,
watching Black Phone 2. Goodbye,
no, I
everybody.
no, no, no,
Oh.
no. I do viewers, leave a comment. I do think this deep into October, we should at least watch a horror movie, you
Ah,
know?
I have to go.
Okay,
Go.
bye.